We are back in talking about the NFL playoffs. So, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Sobacksports, and we're so back with another video. And before we get into this video and our predictions, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Comment down below your predictions and whether you agree or disagree with what I have to say, because we're going to be going through my 2025-2026 NFL playoff predictions because this year has been completely insane when it comes to the matchup. This is the first time in the playoffs that we don't have the Chiefs, the the Bengals, the Ravens, and like teams like that have been consistently in the playoffs are not in the playoffs, at least for the last couple of years now. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video because we have a lot of matchups to talk about. And let's actually zoom it in a little bit more so they can go through each matchup individually. Um, so as you can see, well, let's leave the Bears and Packers for the last bit. As you probably can tell, you probably know who I'm going to take, but we'll discuss that. And if you want to check out a video that I did when I did previewed this game, feel free. I'll put it at the link in the description down below or in the tags at the top. So let's start with the AFC actually. So we have the Patriots and the Chargers as the first matchup. So the real thing is for this matchup is it was I was a little bit back and forth on this because it was we had experience and the coach, and coaches on both sides are well experienced when it comes to the playoffs. You have Mike Vrabel on one hand when he had made his playoff runs with the Tennessee Titans, and now is on a new roster with Drake May and this Patriots team, and he will have his experience when it comes to making a deep playoff run. With Jim Harbaugh, you have experience as well. You have, last year in his first season, he went to the playoffs as well. And in the past, when he was the head coach of the 49ers with Colin Kaepernick, he made the Super Bowl as well. So, you have a ton of experience when it comes to the head coaching side. The main question and the main kind of issue between these two teams is general health. And I think the Patriots are the more healthy team. And that's what's going to probably determine the success of whoever comes out of this matchup. And that's why I think that the Patriots are going to actually make it to the next round. And I get it, like Drake May is not like this is his first time in the playoffs, but that unknown factor and how good he's been playing this season, I think that he's going to have an opportunity to, in the brightest stage, show that he's also equipped for this role of being the quarterback for the future. And he has weapons. He has Stephon Diggs, Keishawn Booty. Um, Everyone is at his disposal, and especially a solid run game with Ramondre Stevenson and Trevion Henderson, making a strong push at the tail end of this season. So that's one thing. And for the Chargers side, I think it's just that they're very banged up. Justin Herbert's been playing through so much injuries this year, and that's kind of been the story and the tale of why they haven't been able to meet their full potential. Their offensive line is completely cooked, especially since Joe Alt went down and Rashawn Slater before the season started and went down. Like there were so many issues with this Chargers team, and it had a lot of hope in to start the season with beating the Chiefs on opening night. But I just think that the more healthier team will come out of this victory with victorious. So I'm taking the Patriots in this one. That's really all it. And I do think that, history also shows that Justin Herbert, in playoff situation hasn't been, the most clutch, or, hasn't had the greatest of performances as well. So I think that paired along with the fact that he's hurt doesn't really bode well for him to come out on top. But, I could be wrong. But I think that the Patriots are going to win this one. Next one, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills. I've been back and forth on this one. It's a matter of, the Bills are not a great away team. I just think that they are also very, quote unquote injured. I would say. I mean, to be fair, they still have a decent amount of their roster still. It's just that their wide receiver core has been a big issue throughout the season. But if they get the run game going, they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL, because that run game with James Cook, who's the leading rusher this season, he's been absolutely on a tear this season. So I really do like, Sean McDermott's experience. Josh Allen, this is his best opportunity as the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills to make a run and a deep playoff run and try to get a Super Bowl, especially without Mahomes in your way and Joe Burrow in your way as well. So, oh no, even Lamar Jackson in your way too. So I think that will give a boost for the Bills. It's just that how well will they pair up against a very young and very hungry Jacksonville Jaguars team who ended the season, I believe, if I were to remember correctly, on a 10-game winning streak. So they are, coming in hot and very ready for the playoffs. And they, if you remember, they beat the Denver Broncos, who were the number one seed at the time, and broke their winning streak as well. So and especially was in Mile High Stadium. So you have to take that into account that this team, this defense as well, is absolutely incredible. And there are a lot of things to take into account in that sense. Liam Cohen has done a fabulous job with this team, and I think that added the addition of Jacoby Myers in the middle of the season has given them that boost that they really did need to make a deep playoff run, and they have the opportunity to do so. We've seen in the past that the Jacksonville Jaguars, randomly have this like playoff run, especially if you remember correctly, when it was the Jaguars, Vikings, Patriots, and um, why can't I remember the other team? Jacksonville. But that team with Blake Bortles as their quarterback, like they made a big run and they went to the AFC Championship game. So anything is possible, and I think this is one of the more intriguing matchups. I just think that I'm going to lean on experience, and I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are bound to lose one, especially with the 10-game winning streak that they ended. I'm not as confident in this one to pick the Bills, but I feel like I'm going with my gut, even though it's telling me like this could not go in your favor. But I'm just saying that the Bills, with the experience that they have, is going to taper over. Josh Allen's going to go God mode in this game, and I think that's what's going to put them over the edge. Um, Final matchup for the AFC side is the Steelers taking on the Texans. And oh boy, the Steelers, they really made it close to get into the playoffs in the first with a missed field goal by Tyler Loop and essentially sent them into the playoffs as the division winner, as in being 10-7. The Texans, started off very rough. Started off, I believe, 0-3, and then ended their season on an insane run, and ended 12-5. The defense for the Texans is one of the best in the league. Unstoppable. Will Anderson Jr. has been absolutely incredible with Daniil Hunter as well. So, and I always forget the defensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, but he's done an absolutely fabulous job. The problem is the offense is very inconsistent. I do think that CJ Stroud, with the opportunities that he's had in the past and the playoff experience that he's had, will be a factor in this as well. I'm not saying that has the experience over Aaron Rodgers per se, but I just think that him with Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins has been ascending as a really good wide receiver too, potentially for the Texans. And Dalton Schultz has been, a very big safety blanket for CJ as well. The run game is a big question with Nick Chubb and Woody Marks. It's not been very ideal throughout the season. But I think the offensive line is what's going to be offensive line, and the run game is what's going to be the Achilles heel for this Texans offense. And the Steelers getting back DK Metcalf after that 2-game suspension is going to be very huge for them. They were able to get away with it for the last 2 games. And Calvin Austin, Marcus Valdes-Scantling, they added Adam Thielen. Trying to remember who it was that caught those touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Warren, like that. They have some weapons to work with when the Steelers, and Aaron Rodgers, with the veteran that he is, his playoff experience cannot go, unmentioned. And this is going to be a very interesting matchup. It's just a matter of, can this Texans defense overwhelm the Steelers offense? And I think they have a really good shot to. I think that the Steelers are kind of, they're hanging on to dear life to make a deep playoff run, and Mike Tomlin just barely got them over the finish line like he usually does. I'm not super convinced with the Steelers, but it is at home, and knowing the high end talent and knowing how much BS that happens in order for them to win, I would not be surprised whatsoever if the Steelers find a way to make this a close game and they win. However, I'm going to go with the Texans in this one. I believe that Texans have the better team, like holistically speaking. Even though the high end talent exists on the Steelers side of things, but I just can't pick the Steelers to win this one, even though there is a good shot that they could. Let's go to the NFC side of things, the Panthers and Rams. This is going to be interesting. If we remember correctly, the Panthers beat the Rams in the regular season, one of the more crazy games I've witnessed, and that helped the Bears for a solid 1 week be the number one team in the NFC for about like I said, a week. So that's why I remember this game very clearly. The Panthers, like the Steelers, kind of like hobbled their way into the postseason, kind of, had a lot of things going against them, and they just worked out. They're 8-9 team below 500, making the playoffs as a division leader. And they're going up against a powerhouse team in the Rams, which, throughout the season has been seen as a well balanced team, both defensively and offensively. And you have Matthew Stafford, who's making himself MVP type of season. But however, at the end of the season, he's been kind of shaky for Matthew Stafford, but I still think that he's, going to lock in when it comes to the playoffs. And if you remember last year, like if it weren't for the Eagles game and very unfortunate drops as well, Matthew Stafford could have made it past the Eagles and made a potential Super Bowl run as well. So I think that, the Rams are just trying to right the ship and try to get back on track after, a rough couple of games, especially against the Seahawks, and then losing to the Falcons as well. It's been kind of rough, time for them, but I think that they're going to be the better team. But it's at home in Carolina, so there is a chance that the Panthers could win. But I feel like the Rams should right the ship and find a way to win against this Panthers team. Oh yeah, and let's talk about the Panthers before we move on, like real quick. Bryce Young, this is a good experience for you, a good experience for David Canales as well. This defense is pretty solid. The offensive weapons are there. It's just that what iteration of Bryce Young we're gonna get. If we're gonna get, superhero Carolina Reaper Bryce Young, then this game is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be close, and I think Bryce Young could pull it out. If we're just gonna get normal Bryce Young and average play and, makes a lot of mistakes, then it's going to be a blowout. That's just my thought. I'm going to pick the Rams nonetheless. The 49ers and Eagles, I think that this is going to be another interesting match. And I feel like people aren't giving the credit that the 49ers kind of deserve. They are offensively a well-oiled machine. It's just that against the Seahawks, it was kind of exposed in a sense. I do think that the Eagles' defense is good. It's still really good. Don't get me wrong. It's like one of the best defenses in the league. It's just that I don't think it's as comparable to what the Seahawks were able to do. Yes, the talent is there for the Eagles, but I just think that what the Seahawks provided when it comes to a scheme and simulating pressure, I don't think that the Eagles do that enough compared to them. So I think that the 49ers could run the ball a lot better against this Eagles team. And since the Eagles have rested most of their starters, they are playing at home. They will have that advantage to their disposal. But as long as the 49ers run the ball effectively, I think that they have a really good shot to win, because that 49ers defense isn't great, but that Patriots, that Eagles offense is not as good as it used to be, especially since last year. The run game isn't as effective. The offensive line hasn't been as effective when it comes to key blocks. Kevin Patullo has been on the hot seat throughout the season, so that's been pretty apparent for the Achilles heel, I would say, for this Eagles offense and this Eagles team per se, is that the main strength for the 49ers is that their offense is one of the best, even with all these injuries. the main strength for the Eagles is that their defense is really good. So it's going to be like an unstoppable object meets a immovable force. So we'll see what happens. If I were to go with my pick and see how things go, and how uh, you know in sort of historical trends would say, I would say that the Eagles should win this one, but I will not count out the 49ers because the 49ers do have a solid chance to win this game. Um, I just something's in the air. I don't know. I just don't trust the Eagles offense enough, but I feel like the Eagles defense is going to do enough for them to win this game. Finally, and the matchup, like I said, I mean, obviously I picked the Bears to win this game. But I do think that this is going to be a very close game. Per se, or at least a one score game. I predicted that the Bears would win 28-21. Jordan Love coming back is going to be huge for this Packers offense. And they're going to get some key people back. Zach Tom is healthy potentially, and he's questionable for Saturday's game. And the thing that's annoying is that it's going to be on Prime on a Saturday, which this should be like a marquee game on a Sunday night football. And I'm kind of wondering why they just did not do that. I guess it's the rights to the game for Amazon, but I think that this is going to be nuts. Saturday night, Soldier Field, the weather is going to be a factor when it comes to like a potential snow game. We're monitoring the weather too. It could be like rain, slow, it's sleet kind of game. So the run games for both these teams are going to be what is going to churn most of the offense. I do think that Caleb Williams has enough of arm talent to, have a passing game to go with. But I do think that if the Bears want any kind of success in opportunity to win, they have to really rely on the run game, as opposed to the last two times that the Bears faced the Packers. This is going to be a big game. This is very for like pretty much the winner goes home. The best of three series. Packers fans wanting this, Bears fans wanting this. I'm going to be nervous throughout this game because this is a huge game for all of us and means a lot to the fan base. If the Bears win, this means a lot, especially with moving the trajectory forward for this franchise and kind of, reigniting the flames of the past rivalry that was the Packers and Chicago Bears rivalry. But I do think that this is going to be tough because Jordan Love, if we've seen a couple of times, like when he gets open, when he sees man coverage, when he sees the blitz, he is one of the best quarterbacks to go against that. So it's up to Dennis Allen to kind of mitigate that, utilize a lot of zone coverages. For the Packers, their defense is a little bit banged up, obviously, with the injury of Micah Parsons not being there. It's going to be a little bit crucial, and it will be a benefit for the Chicago Bears to utilize that run game as well to take advantage of that. They don't have Devontae Hyatt, and that's what was pretty effective as well. Jeff Hafley has been really good with generating pressure on Caleb Williams, especially in that game at Soldier Field, where if it weren't for face mask, the Bears would have it would have stalled out and they would have had to punt. So we have to be careful when it comes to the Chicago Bears, and I hope Ben Johnson comes ready. And I think the game plan for the Packers is just, put pressure on Caleb Williams and, let Jordan Love do his thing and the offense do his thing because the secondary is hurt. But we are getting Kyler Gordon back, which is a huge boost to our secondary and a much needed boost. CJ Gardner Johnson's out, so it's going to be kind of interesting how the chess match goes between these two teams. But I still think that the Bears will win 28-21. It's still going to be a close game, and Bears are going to move on to the divisional round. That's my wildcard prediction. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And let's move on quickly to the next part of this, and that is the Rams and Seahawks. I think that the Seahawks, coming off of a bye week, the Rams should have the opportunity to win this game. But I do think that Sam Darnold has the experience as well. But it's a kind of a toss-up. I don't think this is a true 5 seed. And the Seahawks have been really good on defense. I'm taking the Seahawks still. I think that Sam Darnold and this Mike McDonald's done a great job for this defense, and it's kind of one of the tougher teams to beat. And it's going to be a close game, like how that game was on Thursday night. Bears Eagles is just another rematch from the Black Friday game. Bears are going to win. Bears pretty much have to follow the same formula as the 49ers if they want to win, is utilize that run game like you did, abuse the run game, and find ways to generate turnovers against this Eagles offense. If you can do both those things, I think that the Bears can have a good shot to win. Um, but I do think that the experience for this Eagles defense and this Eagles team is going to overtake the Bears in inexperience. And as much as it pains me to say, I think that the Eagles are going to win this one. Um, I don't like that. I have to say that, but I think that they will. They'll find a way. Um, and then on the AFC side, it's going to be interesting. Broncos, Bills. I think that this is going to be the first. This is like the first year I think that both one seeds are going to break that curse of the first week bye. Um, and I think both one seeds are going to do well because that Broncos defense is absolutely dirty. They're so good, and I think it will overpower that Bills offense. Unfortunately, I think Josh Allen misses out his opportunity to move on to the next round. So that's just my deal. I think that, we'll see what happens. And yeah, I mean, I think that the Broncos move on. Patriots and Houston. I think Houston, D'Amico Ryans has had a deep playoff run. I think this is the best opportunity he has. I think that defense is going to overtake that Patriots offense. Drake May has been doing really good this season. He's been very consistent. However, I think this um, Houston Texans defense is going to be a little bit overwhelming for Drake. So I think that the Texans are going to win and move on to the AFC Championship game. And let's go on to who makes the Super Bowl and wins. Comment down below if you have anything similar or what changes you would make to um, this bracket so far. So we have Seattle, the two bird teams face off each other in the NFC, and then the Horseman versus the Bull in the other side. Um, this is intriguing. This is intriguing. Two one seeds. Let's start with the NFC. Uh, the clash of two good defenses. And I feel like the common theme for all four of these teams is that defense wins championships in a sense. I think that all four of these teams have great defenses, and that's what's going to be the common denominator. And what will end up happening is out of all these defenses, who has the best offense? And I think that the Seattle Seahawks have the better offense. In out of the out of the Eagles and the Seahawks, I just think that Darnold will, is out for revenge at this point, and is trying to make a name for himself, especially with the weapons he has. JSN has been doing good. Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker has been a good tandem for them and the running back room. Mike McDonald's making himself a hell of a case for a coach of the year. And listen, his defense is just too good for him not to make an NFC championship game, let alone a Super Bowl. So I like my chances for taking the Seahawks in this game. And then for the Texans and Broncos, it's going to be interesting. I think that the Broncos, they have a lot of question marks when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. But I do believe in their defense quite a bit. Nick Bonito making himself a case for Defensive Player of the Year, even though that is probably going to go to Myles Garrett. I do think that that defense is really good. It did get exposed by the Jaguars, but I don't think that the Houston Texans offense is enough for them to kind of go past this defense. So I will take the Broncos in this one. And yes, it seems like a very like blatant, like, oh, it's a one seed versus one seed. I'm just going by God. This could be completely wrong, but I'm just saying like this could be a one seed versus one seed, a repeat of history where it was Peyton Manning versus Russell Wilson, and now it's Sam Darnold versus Bo Nix. It's not exactly the same, but we'll see what happens. And Super Bowl winner, this is tough. This is really tough. I'm always back and forth on this, and I made some notes on this as well. With the Seahawks, like I said, defense, right? I think that Sean Payton is good enough, and he's been in these key scenarios to find ways to win the Super Bowl. But I don't know if I can give it to the Broncos as well. I think that this wide receiver core is still too young. RJ Harvey is still up and coming. but they're still good enough to make the game. It's just that they're just still inexperienced. Same with the fact that um, Mike McDonald as the head coach is inexperienced, but they have the weapons to do so on offense. Um, but I will take the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks will win the Super Bowl. Um, that's just my prediction from the get go. I think that things can change as well. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I think that this is going to be one of the more fun Super Bowls, and anything can really happen. I feel like this is the most parity we've had in an NFL season in quite some time. And even though this bracket doesn't show parity and the one seeds make it, I do believe that this will be a very fun uh playoffs in general. So let me know what you would change or what matchups I got wrong or what you would completely change from the ones I selected. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support recently. We're trying to get to 800 subscribers by the end of the month. I think we can do that together. Or if you could just hit that subscribe button, it really means a lot to the channel. Remember to like and comment down below your thoughts and your predictions for the Super Bowl champion and the playoffs. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.